On the news tonight, House of Rep promises to intervene in the recent increase in electricity tariff. A total of 1.98 million candidates to sit for UTME across the nation. Ogun State Governor donates 25 patrol vehicles to the Nigerian police. Good evening and welcome to NTJ News at 7. Thanks for staying with us. I am Olawumi Adeniji, and here are the details. ECOWAS will spend about $25 million this year on humanitarian activities in the sub-region. Out of this amount, $9 million has already been released to address issues of IDPs, refugees, and asylum seekers in member states. ECOWAS Commissioner for Human Development and Social Affairs, Professor Fatou Soa, at a press briefing in Abuja, said ECOWAS is also planning a regional youth forum this year to enhance the capacity of youth in the region. Kelvin Eonuaye reports.
Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger account for much of the IDPs and refugees in the region, with their economic consequences in the affected areas. Flood and other forms of disaster have compounded the issue, leading to huge humanitarian crisis. In response to this crisis, ECOWAS will spend $25 million in the sector this year, but also prioritizing prevention through a disaster reduction strategy and tools to monitor displaced populations to anticipate problems and better manage crisis situations.
9 million is for internally displaced persons, refugees, and asylum seekers and the host communities. So you see that most people in that group are young people and women. As I had said, it is to enable the resolution of this problem within our region.
On youth development, a major component of human capital development, ECOWAS is planning a youth conference to discuss issues of education, ICT, capacity building for youths, and evaluate the various scholarship schemes for them in the region. In Abuja, Kelvin Eonuaye, NTA News.
The astronomical rise in price of drugs in Nigeria is likely to come down soon, with expected open doors for investors and with increased funding into the healthcare sector in Nigeria. This is as the World Bank announced plans to support countries in delivering quality, affordable health services to 1.5 billion people by 2030. Muplan Dadok has more.
No health, no wealth, they say. This explains why the World Bank is putting health issues on the front burner in a high-level meeting when the world is faced with several problems like inflation, climate change, and conflicts. Nigeria's Minister of Health, Ali Pate, says with increasing domestic financing for health in sight, improving efficiency, enhancing transparency and accountability are top on Nigeria's agenda.
What we're trying to do in Nigeria is articulated a vision, a direction, defragmented the landscape with the subnational levels also aligning with us, and having our supportive global partners come to back us up with financing, with technical support, but following leadership of government and using national systems that are more sustainable, and let's hold each other accountable.
There's really strong momentum and leadership. So how are we going to position ourselves to support this change, to support this dynamic, and invest in such a way that allows governments to have ownership?
Strong partnerships were advocated as catalysts to achieve results in health. And the minister says Nigeria will open the door for more private sector investments, especially in local production of medication. From Washington, D.C., Muplan Dakok, NTA News.
And in the meantime, the federal government says it is fostering a vibrant market for Nigerian-made goods and services. The aim is to create more jobs, boost economic diversification efforts, and reduce reliance on imported goods. This was contained in a message by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, delivered through the Permanent Secretary Cabinet Affairs Office during an inter-ministerial meeting on Buy Made in Nigeria products and Economic Forum in Abuja. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Successive administrations in Nigeria have campaigned on reversing overdependence on oil, which projects Nigeria as a mono-economy. To solve this problem, emphasis has been on improving productivity in the extractive and manufacturing industries, agribusinesses, and other domestic competencies that will boost the exportation of goods and services.
Made in Nigerian goods are world standard goods anywhere, anytime. And it's good that we are going to showcase these goods and services all over the globe so that we gain recognition outside, and which will create a lot of jobs and boost our economy.
The MDAs saddled with these tasks are here brainstorming to identify the gaps in marketing made in Nigeria products. Some of these perennial hurdles identified include inadequate funding, poor branding, products of low standard, amongst others.
I'll learn more and then dig more.
Discussions of this forum also reveal that the success of this initiative is dependent on adequate collaboration between government and the private sector. To drive this initiative, 6 countries, including South Korea, Canada, Japan, and France, have been selected for the event. Part of the mandate of this forum is to develop a comprehensive strategy that will showcase the strength and innovations in the Nigerian businesses across sector, as well as to encourage patronage of made in Nigerian products, both locally and internationally. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Nigeria now has the technology to prevent unwanted persons from gaining access into the country through the international airports. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, while test-running e-gates installed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, says the facility is 99% completed and will be deployed for operations from next week. Victor Azu reports.
The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, was here. Work was below 50% completion. Now the e-gates at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, are ready to be deployed for operations. The minister is optimistic that the technology will eliminate unnecessary human interface, reduce bureaucracy, and make movements in and out of the country seamless.
As far as Abuja is concerned, we are on 99.9%, and I think by Wednesday, Abuja will be 100% good. Obviously, I think by Monday, from what I've been told, Monday, Tuesday, work will start in Lagos. It's impossible for you to use another person's passport or an expired passport to enter into Nigeria with this solution.
At the Command and Control Center domiciled at the Nigeria Immigration Service, work is also near completion, a situation that inspires the Comptroller General's confidence about interagency collaboration and its potency for national development.
It helps us monitor the border better. It gives us that upper edge in terms of knowing what is happening on real time. So that alone has put us way on top of what we're doing.
The e-gates, also enabled to foil identity theft, will be replicated in other international airports across the country. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
And now to education. The 2024 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, organized by the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, has commenced across the states of the Federation. A total of 1.98 million candidates are expected to write the exam in 770 CBT centers. Olayinka Ojo reports that parents and guardians yielded to the board's warning to stay away from the examination venues to avoid arrest.
Some of the candidates in this examination center participated in the mock exercise aimed at preparing them for the examination proper. Now, it is time for the candidates to convince the examiner, and they have 2 hours to do just that. At this center in Buhari, the examination started at exactly 8 a.m. after all checks and balances were carried out.
The timing, everything is good, no problem.
It was somehow hard.
It's difficult.
Yeah, but not that difficult.
Although 25 CBT centers were delisted for various forms of irregularities. Registrar of JAMB, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, while lauding the collaboration with security agencies, said the board discovered that some candidates were given their details to fraudsters.
All those who are involved, they are already in the net, and that's very good for us. And those who benefited from the fraud, they will not go scot-free. We will make sure even when they are on NYC, we have spoken with the NYC, they will pay for it, even those who are working among them.
And based on investigations, as at the time of filing this report, of the 770 CBT centers conducting the examination across the country, only one CBT center is experiencing some technical hitch.
Yes, some centers will fail. I've heard of only one throughout the country today, but I expect about 10% of the centers to have one problem or the other, because we know the level of development in different parts of the country.
Where I'm standing during examinations used to be a beer of activities for parents. But in adherence to the Riot Act read by JAMB, it is a shadow of itself, as no parents want to be seen arrested by security operatives.
Part of it, for credibility, parents should not go closer to the centers. You allow your wards to go in and perform by themselves.
By the end of the first day of the examination, more than 577,000 candidates would have written the examination out of the 1.98 million registered candidates. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the 2024 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, conducted by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Examination Board, JAMB, has been adjudged to be peaceful on day one of the exercise, which began nationwide. Correspondent Bolaji Akim visited some centers in Lagos and reports that the exams will run through till 29th of April.
Entrance into a higher institution of learning requires students to undergo entrance examinations. The prospective candidates for this year's JAMB were seen at various centers visited in early hours of Friday. The normal routine were adhered to, where students were searched by security officers and their biometrics captured before being allowed into the examination hall. At Yaba College of Technology Center, while a batch was writing the exam, NTA camera lens captured another set of students waiting in a room made available by the center instead of hanging around.
I give them kudos. They tried, because in terms of their environment, it's perfectly okay. In terms of the system, they have good system. They have good waiting room where the students are waiting for the other people to finish and come and write their own before they will be ushered into their exam.
To some of the students, writing 2024 JAMB is a worthwhile experience, which they expect a good result.
The examination is so good that the system is working very nice.
It's okay. The network is not bad and everything is going well.
It was very shocking. Like, I was scared in it, but God helped me out. I tried my best in the exam.
NTA News also observed that the order to parents not to move closer to examination center was strictly obeyed, as parents were seen far away from the centers visited. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
You are still watching NTA Jeopardy News at 7. There will be more reports after this break.
Hooray! The ancient city of Ijebu-Ode will be agog again. All roads lead to the Afin Awujale of Ijebu land for installation of the third Asiwaju of Ijebu in recent history by Awujale and paramount ruler of Ijebu land, Alayeluwa Oba Dr. Sikiru Kayode Adetona Ogbagba II, who now the car feet. It's no other person than a business mogul, philanthropist and former chairman of Sterling Bank PLC, Alhaji Dr. Sulaiman Adebola Adegunwa OFR, as he will be installed as Asiwaju of Ijebu. And since a bird does not fly with one wing, his wife, Hajia Fatima Adegunwa, will also be installed as Yeye Asiwaju and Arabake of Ijebu. The ceremony will be performed by Kabiyesi Alayeluwa Oba Dr. Sikiru Kayode Adetona, the Awujale and paramount ruler of Ijebu land, at the Afin Awujale on Saturday 27 April 2024 by 10 in the morning. Alhaji Dr. Sulaiman Adebola Adegunwa is the founder and chairman of SA Holdings Limited, parent company of Right Foods Limited, a former chairman, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Ogun State branch. Come one, come all.
You are welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun has donated 25 operational patrol vehicles and ultra-modern drone facilities to the Nigerian police to curb all forms of insecurity across the country. The governor, while presenting the patrol vans, promised to continue to support security agencies to win the war against crimes and criminalities in Nigeria. Yemi Dalemo reports.
These 25 patrol vehicles are hereby commissioned.
That was the symbolic presentation of the 25 patrol vehicles and ultra-modern drone facilities to the Nigerian police received by the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun. While applauding the innovative and transformational leadership style of IGP Egbetokun, Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun promised to continue to support the Nigerian police to enhance community policing so as to win the war against insecurity in Nigeria.
We acknowledge your alignment with the tenets of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. We urge the integration of cutting-edge surveillance technology to combat the challenges of banditry and terrorism nationwide.
IGP Egbetokun, who appreciates Governor Abiodun for the gesture, acknowledges that Ogun State is one of the peaceful states in the country, promising that the Nigerian police will establish more police formations to curtail possible security breach.
We need a police force that is service-driven, that is rule of law compliant, and that is people-friendly. We need a police force that will be so well positioned to respond appropriately and adequately to the dynamics of crimes in our society.
The Inspector General of Police, who was on a 3-day official working visit to Ogun State, also commissioned a number of projects across the state.
The federal government says the proposed review in the justice sector will take cognizance of the act that criminalized the commission of suicide in Nigeria. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, stated this in Abuja while receiving a group of advocates on decriminalization of attempted suicide. Dele Atubi reports.
The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, explained that right to life as a blue right is sacrosanct and takes the center stage in the administration of President Bola Tinubu. Fagbemi, SAN, maintained that the fundamental rights of the people, as enshrined in Chapter 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, are non-derogable rights. The Chief Law Officer of the nation promised that in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Health, the act criminalizing attempted suicide due to mental issues will be looked into. Fagbemi, SAN, equally said that the implementation of the Mental Health Act 2021 will be given the priority it deserves.
The issue of health occupies a key position in the minds of this administration. And for you to have singled out two means a lot to us. We want to partner with those who have things to offer. And you certainly have very cogent contributions to make. The first, the issue of decriminalization of suicide. First, I want to say that even apart from attempted suicide, it is an ameliorating factor to say that a man who was alleged to have committed an offense was not in a good state of health.
The advocates for the decriminalization of attempted suicide based on mental health issues had earlier pleaded with the federal government to give premium to treatment of mental health issues.
Seeking the intervention of your good office to weigh in, for this advocacy that we have brought today, such that, again, statistics indicate that we have at least maybe 1 in every 4 persons would deal with one mental health disorder or another.
Over the world, the evidence, medical evidence shows now that 80 to 90% of those who will attempt suicide, there is background mental illness, especially depression. It is because of a sense of hopelessness that makes them get to the edge where they think they are better off dying.
It is the belief of the advocates that the implementation of Mental Health Act 2021 will go a long way in stemming the tide of mental health issues in Nigeria. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
The House of Representatives says it will continue to interface with key players in the power sector towards achieving an electricity tariff acceptable to investors and consumers. Speaking after her meeting with distribution companies and other electricity stakeholders, Chairman House Committee on Power, Victor Nwokolo, says without a change in electricity tariff, the power sector lacks the capital to upgrade its capacity. The committee promises to hold further consultations with the Transmission Company of Nigeria, generation companies, and other stakeholders to find a middle ground on the recent increase in electricity tariff.
What can it guarantee? That's what is making the difference. And that's why I would say that if it is sustained, will you be able to improve the service? What are we talking about? How long will it take you? Let me ask them. How long will it take you to improve, to install a better capacity that will ensure that people get light for 20, even if Nigerians get light for 12 hours now, I think we are better off than no light for 3 weeks. We had a member say that for 1 month.
Public relations practitioners are resolved to spearhead the revolutionary change to reposition Nigeria's economy on a trajectory of sustainable economic growth. Some of his members who were on Good Morning Nigeria also explained that they are working on proactive strategies for the seamless implementation of NIPR template. This, they say, will be unveiled at the first Nigerian Institute of Public Relations Week in Abeokuta. Lydia Samson, Asma.
On the theme, leveraging public relations as a critical asset for Nigeria's economic and reputation renaissance, the Institute has resolved to deploy public relations as a tool for revamping the economy across the value chains. These key players from the Institute we featured on Good Morning Nigeria say the goal will be achieved through rebranding and showcasing hidden talents and treasures Nigeria has to offer.
I mean, all of us know that we have huge potentials in this country that can turn the fortunes, our economic fortunes, around. And we cannot do that if we are not speaking to it in the sense of the choosing of what we have, of what we can get from investing in Nigeria.
You're talking about building capacity by those who have a duty at a certain level. If you're going to train mathematics teachers, you don't bring in the gate men. But the gate men have their own type of training. So it's intended to sharpen and refocus the professionals who communicate organizational image, institutional image, and ultimately affect the national image comprehensively.
With speakers drawn from within and outside Nigeria, the plan is to digest economic realities with a view to finding lasting solutions.
And we are concerned about quackery and impostors. And so 2 committees were established. One headed by 2-star general, even though he retired, talking about General Olukolade dealing with the standard. And I am heading the others, the other committee that is dealing with issue of professional ethics, etiquettes, and discipline. Enforcement is General Olukolade's committee. So these committees are also going to work, coming out standard operational procedures to see how best. And in fact, we have gone far ahead, collaborating with Federal Ministry of Justice to establish a tribunal against, fake public relations, practitioners in this country. So
they are emphatic that the era of employment of public practitioners to lie is over, as members of the NIPR are poised to deepen professionalism by presentation of facts. To this effect, the first ever NIPR week will also be prioritizing promotion of made in Nigeria product as part of efforts at strengthening patriotism. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency predicted that Osun is one of the 31 states likely to face flooding this year, as flood-prone areas and people living in communities along river banks in the state are apprehensive of the prediction. Kayode Oladosu in this report takes a look at efforts put in place by Osun State government to mitigate flooding.
Has been a yearly occurrence in some parts of Osun State to witness flood in the aftermath of a heavy downpour. The downpour, which causes overflows of most rivers and streams, has rendered some residents homeless, destroyed farmlands, as well as some public infrastructures. With the onset of 2024 rainfall across Osun State, the state government has commenced dredging of rivers and other waterways to combat flood in the state.
The approach we adopted this time around is to open all the receptacle rivers within the state, and majorly Osun River, we are realigning it to pave way for large volume of water. And it is not limited to the state capital. We are moving around all the nooks and crannies of the state.
The effort is applauded by the residents.
This is a very good work government is doing now. I think it's a welcome development for the society now.
It's almost every year. But about this dredging now, we are very happy of what government are doing to help us enlarge the river so that the river can be flowing freely without affecting our building and some other things. We are very happy about it.
In light of this, the state government urged residents to avoid dumping waste on waterways, while those living along floodplains were advised to relocate. In Oshogbo, Kayode Oladosu, NTA News.
And on that note, we end today's news on NTA Ijebode, your heritage station. I am Olawumi Adeniji. Do have a good night rest and a safe weekend.